Hey everyone, and welcome back to Game Audio Analysis. If you've been anywhere near social media, you've probably heard that E3 happened recently. Every year, this event is exciting for gamers across the world. New games are revealed to the public, and new content is announced for games that people already love. It's also that exciting time of year when our YouTube subscription feeds are filled with reaction videos. But I digress. For most people, this year's E3 wasn't anything too crazy. And while I generally agree, there was one announcement that had me completely ecstatic. That's right, Banjo-Kazooie, the classic bear and bird from the Nintendo 64, have finally made it into Super Smash Bros. This is something I've wanted ever since the original Smash Bros, so you could probably imagine just how excited I am. And in honor of this announcement, I'd like to go back and analyze the sound of the duo's debut game, Banjo-Kazooie. For back in 1998, the developers at Rare did some pretty creative things from an audio standpoint. Even by today's standards, I think there are some excellent ideas that could still be used in modern video games. So without further ado, let's analyze the sound of Banjo-Kazooie. Aesthetically, Banjo-Kazooie balances two very specific moods, cartoony and spooky. On one hand, the game's worlds are bright and colorful, the dialogue is irreverent, and there are some really goofy enemies, like this vegetable has googly eyes. But on the other hand, the main villain is Gruntilda, a witch who is trying to steal the youth from Banjo's sister. Additionally, the entrance to her lair is a pretty creepy looking rendition of her face. In order to present the full package of both moods, the music also needed to reflect this balance between cartoony and spooky. Fortunately, the game's composer, Grant Kirkhope, struck this balance perfectly. On the cartoony side, almost every song in the game has an oompa rhythm. This is commonly found in polka, and it tends to give music a very bouncy and fun feel. A clear example of this rhythm can be found in the music for the first world, Mumbo's Mountain. You'll be able to hear the oompa rhythm in the low brass section. This world is very bright and colorful, so it has the cartoony aesthetic down pat. As such, a strong oompa rhythm makes a lot of sense here. The jovial mood created by this section really matches Mumbo's Mountain, and it adds to the player's sense of wonder as they explore the game's first playable world. The woodwinds, marimba, and banjo also add some light-hearted fun to the melody of this track. Now that we're clear on the music's cartoony side and the oompa rhythm, let's take a look at one of the tracks where Grant balances cartoony with spooky. Later in the game, players come across the world Mad Monster Mansion. This area is heavily inspired by Halloween and classic horror movies. In most games, this would be the perfect time to write completely spooky and scary music, and at first, that's exactly what we get. But then, this happens. What started as a song reminiscent of classic horror movies has transformed into something that might sound at home in Looney Tunes. Sure, this track doesn't create the happy-go-lucky feel from Mumbo's Mountain, but it's not exactly scary either. The arrangement contains a lot of traditionally spooky instruments like a pipe organ, low strings, and theremin. But some of our cartoony instruments from earlier, like the marimba and woodwinds, are still there too. And if you listen again, you can hear that all-important oompa rhythm in the low string section. By adding spooky instruments to the ensemble and keeping the cartoony instruments from previous tracks, Mad Monster Mansion perfectly encapsulates Banjo-Kazooie's balance between cartoony and spooky. Banjo-Kazooie, there's a total of 11 worlds. There's the starting area of Spiral Mountain, the hub world of Gruntilda's Lair, and of course the 9 main gameplay worlds, each with their own unique aesthetic. Each of these worlds has a main theme that can be heard during standard gameplay. For example, here's a scene from the main area of the world Gobi's Valley. Additionally, each world has extra versions of the theme to fit different areas of the world. When players enter the new areas, the music will change to the new track after the loading screen, like so. Now that the player is indoors, there's a more subdued arrangement of the same song. It's also particularly great to hear this change happen in real time, like when the player dives underwater. These dynamic music changes and more really help connect players with all the different things they can experience, even within the same world. But my favorite example of the game's dynamic music can be found in the hub world of the game, Gruntilda's Lair. Just like everywhere else in the game, this area has a main theme. Now, Gruntilda's Lair is also where you interact with Jiggy puzzles. Each of these puzzles opens one of the game's 9 main worlds. So, listen to what happens when you approach the Jiggy puzzle for the aforementioned Gobi's Valley. As you can hear, the instrumentation completely changes to match the theme of the world that's being opened. This is a really cool way to give players a taste of what they're going to experience when they enter that new world. This dynamic music system may sound like a lot of work, and you'd be right for thinking that. The developers at Rare needed to design, implement, and test this system to ensure that it worked in every area of the game. Additionally, Grant Kirkhope composed a bunch of extra music for all of these different sections. And years later, we discovered just how much music there was. In 2014, Grant released a complete version of the soundtrack called Banjo-Kazooie Everything in the Kitchen Sink. This album contains every variation of every song in the entire game. The whole thing comes out to a staggering 164 tracks and clocks in at over 6 hours of music. Needless to say, the team put an incredible amount of time into the game's soundscape. Between the dynamic music system, Grant's incredible songs, the game's unique aesthetic, and its great gameplay, it's no wonder that Banjo-Kazooie and its soundtrack are so beloved. And to bring this whole episode full circle, Grant Kirkhope also composed the arrangement of Spiral Mountain that was used in the Smash Bros. Trailer for Banjo-Kazooie. Let's hope we get to hear more arrangements of the classic Banjo-Kazooie music when these characters arrive in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate this fall. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Game Audio Analysis. Do you love the Banjo-Kazooie games too? Are you excited for their arrival in Super Smash Bros.? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, let me know if there's a game you'd like me to analyze the sound of in the future. Until then, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.